Hello, I'm Bob Kaiserman from the National Library of Patient Rights and Advocacy. In July of 2026, the second International Conference on Cognitive Behavioral Play Therapy, CBPT, took place at the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine in Philadelphia. The conference brought together global experts, practitioners, researchers, and students to explore the theory, research, and clinical applications of CBPT. I'm honored today to have as my guest Dr. Maria A. Geraci, Ph.D., the director of the CBPT Research Center in Rome. She is a developmental and educational psychologist, cognitive behavioral psychotherapist, and an adjunct professor at Lumsa University in Rome. She obtained her specialization in CBT psychotherapy at Lumsa University in Rome, where she specialized in psychological assessment at the Sapienza University of Rome and earned a master's in play therapy from the International Academy for Play Therapy in Lugano. For 20 years, she worked in schools as a school psychologist, focusing on behavior, education, and organizational analysis and intervention, working as a trainer and school psychologist in more than 1,000 schools throughout Italy. In recent years, she has been engaged in scientific research and in updating CBPT for children with neurodevelopmental disorders. Welcome, Dr. Geraci. Thank you for joining me today. I guess my first question is, could you define for our audience the basis of cognitive behavioral play therapy? What is it, and for what pediatric patient population is it typically used?
Cognitive behavioral play therapy, or CBPT, is an intervention model that integrates the principles and techniques of cognitive behavioral therapy with the child's natural language, that is play. Unlike traditional CBT, which relies heavily on verbal dialogue and metacognitive reflection, CBPT uses play as a channel to help children recognize dysfunctional thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and to practice new ways of responding within a safe, structured setting. It is typically used with children of preschool and school age who present with anxiety, behavioral problems, or the effects of traumatic events, as well as with children with neurodevelopmental disorder, from whom play becomes a privileged tool for working on self-regulation, cognitive flexibility, and social skills.
I know that CBPT is based on the work of Dr. Aaron Beck, father of cognitive behavior therapy. How have psychologists working with children integrated play into the clinical approach?
Beck's model taught us that thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are deeply interconnected, and that changing dysfunctional thoughts can change how a person feels and acts. The challenge with children is that this work normally requires verbal and introspective abilities that a young child does not yet have. The psychologist who developed CBPT, building on the foundational contribution of Susan Knell, translated cognitive behavioral principles in the language of play, such as puppets, storytelling, drawing, and role play become the means through which maladaptive thoughts are identified, coping strategies are taught, and new behaviors are reinforced, all while preserving the goal-oriented structure typical of CBT, combined with the flexibility and engagement that play provides.
Could you tell us more about your work at the CBPT Research Center in Italy.
The CBPT Research Center was founded in Rome and around the world in 2021 with the goal of promoting CBPT along three main lines: scientific research, therapist training, and clinical practice. As a scientific director, I coordinate a team that works on scientific publications, first and second level training courses for psychologists, psychotherapists, and other professionals who work with children and their clinical supervision. In recent years, the center has expanded its activity internationally with collaboration agreements for CBPT training in Turkey and China, and continues to invest in updating the scientific model, particularly in applying CBPT to children with neurodevelopmental disorders, an area we consider essential for the future of this approach. Within this area, I have dedicated a significant part of my work to developing CBPIR, the Cognitive Behavioral Play Intervention in Remediation, an extension of CBPT designed specifically for neurocognitive rehabilitation. We apply CBPIR to a range of clinical conditions: ADHD, communication disorders, specific learning disorder such as dyslexia, developmental coordination disorder, and tic disorders. Another central element of CBPIR is the involvement of parents and teachers. This work has been published in an Italian textbook and will be translated into English in 2027.
I know that at the recent conference you did a session on case conceptualization in CBPT. Could you explain to our audience how this is an important part of the CBPT approach?
Case conceptualization is the roadmap that guides the entire treatment. It is not simply about assigning a diagnosis, but about building a clinical hypothesis that connects the child's history, maladaptive thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and the family and environmental context in which they live. In CBPT, this roadmap must also consider the child's cognitive and emotional developmental level to choose the most suitable play techniques and to set realistic, measurable goals. A sound case conceptualization allows the therapist to personalize the intervention, monitor its effectiveness over time, and adapt it when necessary, avoiding a standardized approach that fails to respect each child's uniqueness.
Finally, please share your thoughts on the importance of this conference that we just finished here in Philadelphia. What have been the goals of the conference in furthering the understanding and practice of cognitive behavioral play therapy globally?
This conference represented a fundamental moment of the growth of CBPT as an internationally recognized model. After the success of the first conference in Rome in 2024, coming together in Philadelphia, where such pioneering work on play therapy and CBPT has taken place, had a special significance. The main goal has been to build a bridge between researchers, clinicians, and trainers from different cultural contexts, from Italy to Turkey, from China to the United States, to share practice, research data, and training strategies. I believe it is only through this kind of international exchange that CBPT can continue to grow, remaining scientifically solid while also adaptive to the needs of children in the main different contexts where it is applied. I thank Bob for the interview, and I invite you all to stay connected with cbpt.org to follow the organization of the third conference. See you at the third conference.
Thank you so much, Dr. Geraci, for joining me. And we look forward to seeing our audience for the next video.